Hey you guys, welcome back to Plow and Pantry. I'm Alicia if you're new here, and today I am working on some spiced apple cider jelly. I'm making this with apple cider that is like fresh pressed stuff that you get at the store. I normally get that kind of cider from a local apple house, but they haven't had it out yet. So I was at the store earlier and saw this there and decided to go ahead and try this recipe. I've had it marked. I've wanted to try it for a while. It is new to me. Somewhere along here pretty soon I show you the cover of the book I got it out of, which I'm pretty sure I referenced in my 10 homestead or maybe more homestead books that I love type video. I can link that video for you. And it's a Better Homes and Gardens canning book. And it's just made with apple cider and cinnamon and cloves and allspice and sugar. I also had to pick up pectin at the store when I went and got this because the recipe calls for liquid pectin, and I normally use powdered or I use Pomona's, and I don't normally use liquid pectin. I don't have great luck with it. This recipe did come out fine though, so that was good. But I don't have liquid pectin on hand, but that's what I used in this because that is what it called for. It starts with 5 cups. There's the book. Starts with 5 cups of apple cider, and then it adds a couple of cinnamon sticks and a couple whole cloves and a few allspice berries as well. And then it needs to boil and simmer for 20 minutes to get those flavors all infused in that mixture. While I was waiting for that stuff to simmer, I got all the next things ready. So I got my sugar measured out. This calls for 7.5 cups of sugar, which to me is a lot. And I got my liquid pectin opened and kind of just sat it up in a mug so it would be ready to go because those are the next steps. And while I was waiting for it to simmer, my husband checked the mail and I got a seed catalog. So I spent a little time flipping through that. Always fun to do that. Once that had simmered for 20 minutes, I went on to the next step. So the directions here are to strain it out and clean the pot. I got to use my new funnel from Azure. I showed that in an Azure haul with the little strainer in it. Absolutely love that. And at first I was curious because the directions are like strain it out, wash the pot, and put the stuff back in. And I'm like, why are we washing the pot if we're putting the same stuff back in? It's because the pot gets icky. There's a bunch of chunky stuff in there that just doesn't come out. It sticks to it. So I put it back in the pot, and then you bring it back to a boil with the sugar in it this time. And you want like a full rolling boil, stirring. You can't stir it down kind of boil going on. Once it is all the way up to a boil, you add the liquid pectin, and then you bring it back up to a boil again, and you boil it for 1 minute. I like to test mine with a cold plate. Before I start any jam or jelly project, I put a plate in the freezer. That just helps you really see what it's going to come out like, if it's going to set well, because it cools the jam down to room temperature really quickly. So after I had this rolling boil for a minute, then I got my plate out and tested it, and it's really hard to see in this video because the jelly here is a very light color and my plate is white, but it did set. And I did like the finger strip through it, and then, it doesn't move. So I poured the jelly mixture into my pitcher just because I find that a lot cleaner and easier of a way to get the jelly poured into jars, and a lot faster. You have to work kind of quickly when you're making jellies because it sets up really quick. So I like to put it in a pitcher to do that easier. And then I pulled my jars out of the canner. They are hot and sterilized at this point. And I used my pitcher just to pour the jelly mixture into each jar. This came out a beautiful golden color that I love, and it tasted good too. However, if I do make it again, I probably will put more of each of the spices in it because I think it could be more of the spiced part of the spiced apple cider jelly. The kitchen smelled phenomenal while I was making this, and it was just great. I was making this to try. I had marked it a long time ago to want to make it, and I was wanting to see if I wanted to put it in this year's Christmas basket. So I'm still undecided. I might not. Get all the jelly mixture into the jars, and then I wiped off the rings because these were really sticky. So I made sure that I used the vinegar and that I swapped that side of the paper towel I was using every time because this had a lot of gunk on the rims and I did not want seal failures. So I got the lids and rings on the jars and the jars into the canner, and these have to go in for 5 minutes, but at my altitude it was 10, so I put them in for 10 minutes. You start that counting after it comes back up to a boil in the canner. And then I always let it sit with the fire off of the stove for 5 minutes before I take them out of the jar, and then I had these beautiful golden jars. It was the perfect fall day for not only making jelly, but also making this fall apple spiced cider jelly. If you like this kind of content, I hope that you will like and subscribe, as I do all things gardening, food preservation, and cooking from the garden. Thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you for spending your precious moments with me. I hope that you have a fabulous rest of your day.